properly educate this rebellious insect. I shouted for the system to enlarge my body by 10,000 times. Soon, the system responded to my command. Deducted 10 million domain value. Size increased to 10,000 times. Though I had become 10,000 times larger, the difference in size between us was still vast. I began to wonder what this insect ate to grow so large. It was so huge, and in terms of combat power, it was no weaker than me at this moment. Then I instructed the system to investigate its background. Soon, the system organized the information. The insect in front of me was an extragalactic devouring beast. Its nature was cruel and brutal. It liked to devour planets to enhance its own strength, born with the power to suppress immortals and demons. It even had the defensive power to survive an explosion in the star realm. Then the system began to analyze its realm, and reminded me, the time remaining in the ancient continent is only 1 hour. I must rely on my avatar to resolve all matters. Then the system chuckled mischievously twice. I ignored the system's wicked humor, and with a forceful stomp, I leaped into the air. Then I smashed down at its head under the giant insect's terrified gaze. The next moment, a powerful force burst forth from my whirlwind. The force contained within it was enough to directly destroy a planet, yet such power still could not cause effective damage to it. Then a ghostly green claw emerged from the smoke. I sharply detected that breath, and dodged it with an agile body movement, but the giant insect's attack was far from over. A strange red light appeared beneath me. By the time I realized the attack, it was too late to dodge. The overbearing aura made me feel uneasy. The red glow accelerated again as it was about to envelop me. Then I was submerged in the red light. After smashing through thousands of meteorites, I finally managed to stop, and what I didn't expect was that one strike had seriously wounded my strong body, even at the peak of the domain god realm. Then I slowly controlled my body and stood up, and spent 5 million domain value to heal the injuries to my body. With the sound of domain value being deducted, I could feel that not only were my injuries healing, but even my strength had returned to its peak once again. Then I wiped the remaining blood from the corner of my mouth, and took step by step towards that giant insect. Yet the insect was not at all afraid of my transformation. Instead, it started laughing crazily. "You little guy are quite interesting. I'm curious to see how far you can go. But one thing is certain, you can't protect this planet." Hearing it say that, I sneered and charged at it again. "I thought you were just a pest that followed orders. I didn't expect you could actually speak." My words angered the insect. Its massive body began to tremble. "I've eaten plenty of ants like you. You won't be an exception." Then, terrifying explosions sounded in the void. Seeing this horrifying scene, those few who were watching began to doubt themselves. Who is this guy, daring to challenge an extragalactic divine pet? Isn't he afraid of death? A mere heavenly demon, relying on a bit of strength, thinking to defeat a divine pet. He's totally overestimating himself. Could it be that he plans to defend the ancient continent from that monster? It's simply impossible. The destruction of the ancient continent is a foregone conclusion. The suppression of innate conditions is already fatal. Why don't we assist the heavenly god? The god will remember our favor afterward. Then, a cyan blue glow lit up in his hands. What he is fighting for, I may understand, but the logic behind your words, I can't say I agree with, yet I can't refute it either. The next moment, 5 blue halos suddenly lit up around me. Immortal technique, mournful holy binding. Then I realized my spiritual power was blocked by this force. So I looked in the direction of the voice, and found that it was all the doing of a man in a black robe. The giant insect, however, paid no attention to my transformation. It grabbed a planet and hurled it at me. The planet shattered into countless fragments under the immense impact. Seeing this scene, the man turned his internal spiritual energy to its maximum, not giving me any chance to struggle. On the other side, Changshi's efforts, the gate to the 9-state continent slowly opened. A divine artifact that transcended time broke through the seal that marked the 9-state. With the glowing sphere in hand emitting dazzling light, the faces of the crowd were filled with hope for life. It's actually successful, but this is only a beginning. Master once said that the 9-state continent is a distant planet, and these two planets are so far apart that no direct teleportation array can be built. We must rely on the ancient formation, 9 Heavens Starlu array. It can connect several galaxies. To achieve our goal, the formation slowly formed in the air. Jiang Ningran flew high, calling all the survivors to gather here, and there were several similar coordinate spheres, located on some hidden planets in the star field. For tens of millions of years, Master never revealed his plan to anyone. It's unimaginable the difficulties he faced, alone in the vast galaxy, seeking the future of the ancient continent, building formations and infusing divine power into each one. He left the last hope for the people of this land. He's a true hero. Before long, all the surviving immortals and mortals gathered here. Seeing this, Changshi looked firmly at everyone. "Let's go." But her words were questioned by everyone, because they couldn't imagine if such a teleportation formation was safe. Hanshi angrily cursed them as a bunch of cowardly, fear of death fools. "The path is laid out for you. Don't you even have the courage to take it?" With Hanshi's words, the crowd was rendered speechless, but Hanshi didn't stop her ridicule of them. "You bunch of cowardly wimps. Even immortals don't have the courage of this weak woman." Changshi quickly grabbed her. Hearing this, "You lead the way then." After being grabbed by Changshi, Hanshi broke into a cold sweat. Her trembling hand pointed at herself, but before she could could refuse. She was thrown into the teleportation formation by Changshi. The next moment, Hanshi's scream rang out, but she still forcibly suppressed her fear and yelled, "It feels fantastic." The immortals who witnessed the scene did not feel empowered, but became even more frightened. After confirming the safety of the teleportation formation, Jiang Ningran said solemnly to the immortals behind him, "Let the people leave first." As the common people entered the teleportation town one by one, Changshi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Things were going smoothly. I hope nothing unexpected happens. The next moment, Changshi caught sight of several familiar figures in her peripheral vision, and her face darkened at their appearance. The arrivals were those lackeys of the heavenly gods. With the dragon god's fall in the ancient continent, it would surely provoke the wrath of the other gods. The coordinates left by pure virtue god's envoy were the only way to survive. Just then, a cold voice interrupted them. "Do you deserve to take this path? A bunch of ungrateful beasts. My master trusted you so much." Seeing Changshi, heavenly lord of radiant brilliance, cursed under his breath, but still obediently said, "I tried to persuade pure virtue god's envoy, but that was heavenly god's doing." Changshi had no intention of forgiving them. His eyes were cold as he stared at them. "You are no different from that dog god. Dare to enter the teleportation formation, and I will kill you." As the two sides were in a standoff, the heavenly lord of Vermilion Bird looked toward the sky in horror. Changshi was also drawn to her voice, and then saw a sphere of light condensed with lightning appear in the sky out of nowhere. The next moment, the sphere fiercely smashed to the ground. The powerful shockwave knocked everyone off their feet. Those who were about to enter the teleportation portal became stammered. The teleportation portal has exploded. Changshi only felt a familiar sense of terror spread throughout her limbs, then saw the previously dead heavenly god come back to life, with murderous eyes and dark energy emanating from his body. "I'll tear you all to pieces." Changshi didn't hesitate to reach for the artifact. I didn't expect him to have a resurrection technique. I must activate the second phase of the artifact. Return. But before she could touch the artifact, she was kicked away by a chubby foot. The person who came was the resurrected Long Lu. He looked coldly at Changshi, who had no strength to resist. "Who are you hoping will save you? Could it be that inferior worm from before?" Feng Qingyan, who had been preparing to fight back, was stopped. He could only watch Changshi's fate unfold, while those who had betrayed the realm of the gods once again knelt before Long Lu. "This woman is malicious and disrespectful to you. We infiltrated her ranks intending to capture her for you." But Long Lu didn't respond to them. He merely said flatly, "It's over. That despicable person somehow escaped my divine decree, and thus wasted one of my precious lives. I will torture him to death. Since he is your miracle, I will destroy him in front of you. Tear off his limbs, starting the moment he is defeated by my precious pet. And all of you filthy insects deserve to die as well." The guards that came with Long Lu appeared all at once, exuding an overwhelming pressure without exception. With their combined strike, terrifying bolts of lightning struck down at Changshi. Seeing the attack, Changshi became horrified. She closed her eyes tightly, preparing to meet death. "Master, junior sister, Chinchanan, I'm sorry, but the expected attack didn't hit her. Instead, it was blocked by a figure." Changshi slowly moved her arm from in front of her eyes, only to see an incredibly familiar figure, but she quickly dismissed the thought that crossed her mind. "Isn't Chinchanan still fighting the giant worm in the outer domain?" Chinchanan appeared before them in a tattered cloak. "Damn it, 3 days, and you finally let me out. Did you have to torture me just to be absolutely sure? I'm the same person as you, after all. But now there's not much time left. It's just enough to kill this fat pig." Long Lu stared at the all-too-familiar figure before him, breaking into a cold sweat. "Isn't he in the sky?" On the other side, I sensed a change on the ground, and began to laugh. "Keep smashing. It's time to wrap things up." And at the same time, I used domain value to restore my avatar to its peak once again. Feeling my change, the star-devouring beast lost its previous disdain, and frantically asked me who I really was. "How can a place like this have an existence like you?" But what answered him was my demonic-like whisper, and the fist imbued with supreme divine power. "I'm just a mere mortal." The next moment, under this punch, a large part of the star-devouring beast's massive body disappeared. It was only when he witnessed the star-devouring beast being defeated by the man before him that he finally reacted. The divine pet they considered a nightmare had actually been defeated. It was only a short time ago that, because it had been harassing him, this man had been repeatedly hit hard by the divine pet, several times teetering on the edge of death. Even if his movements were restricted, his spiritual energy locked, and hit by a Death Star, suffering countless fatal blows. Had it been someone else, they would have been shattered and obliterated, but he was able to repair his broken body time and again. What's more, his cultivation did not decrease but increased. Such a bizarre method was simply unheard of. Now he was able to casually crush the divine pet. The supposed racial advantage the divine pet had over the heavenly demon clan seemed to not exist at all in him. Such power was not only rare in this small galaxy. Even looking across the entire star domain, there were few who could match it, but this guy really existed and had achieved it. If it were me, I might not even last a few minutes. Thinking of this, the man couldn't help but break into a cold sweat, his legs going weak. Pure virtue god's envoy, maybe he really can succeed and save that girl's life. "You can die without regret. But just as he was about to leave, an icy touch instantly enveloped his whole body. Did I allow you to leave? You were having a lot of fun playing dirty tricks here just now, weren't you? You're really brave, kid. But what kind of worthless creature are you? Hearing this, the man began to explain frantically. I'm just doing my duty. If the divine pet is killed, Heavenly God will be furious. All the star domains will be implicated. By then, not only your ancient continent, but even our place will be. Hearing this, I narrowed my eyes slightly. So the lives in your star domain matter, but the tens of millions of lives in the ancient continent who are about to be devoured by the divine pet don't matter. Seeing that I was unmoved and even spoke mockingly, he brought up the name of pure virtue God's envoy again. I'm her best friend. I fully understand the significance of the ancient continent to you, but that's the heavenly God. Seeing his excited expression, I lightly said, oh, so you're friends with pure virtue God's envoy. The man mistook this as an opportunity for me to let him go, and immediately responded, yes, when pure virtue God's envoy traveled the Star Ocean, we were fortunate to become friends. Pure virtue God's envoy even sought our help, but no one dares to defy the heavenly God. Before he could finish his words, a beam of light pierced through his head. Though a friend from afar has come, they must be killed. I wonder if this phrase could explain the current situation. This left the people who were still in communication extremely anxious, and they repeatedly asked what had happened. But after I dealt with that sanctimonious fellow, I grabbed the fallen communication device in my hand. If there's a next time, you filthy rats hiding in the corners, I won't spare a single one of you. Then I crushed the communication device with force. Now that there's no one to meddle, it's your turn, you little insect. As I looked at the star-devouring beast, it seemed like a frightened dog at this moment, but seeing it in this state, I began to taunt. Weren't you talking tough just now? Why are you silent now? On the other side, Changshi was watching the scene in front of him, utterly surprised. What is going on? Why is there another Chinchan on? Long Lu, seeing another version of me, was full of hatred. That character is unmistakable. I remember you, the bug that cost me a life. But what puzzled him wasn't he a heavenly demon? What was going on with this immortal aura? And what about his realm? But he quickly realized, the one standing in front of him was a clone. The aura of the insect that fought with my beloved must be at least at the domain god realm, but this one in front of him was merely a small domain lord realm. Understanding this, Long Lu burst into crazy laughter. Showing off one's skill before an expert, you're still a piece of junk that can't make it to the stage. Then, Long Lu gathered the powerful power of domain god on his right fist to deceive me with a trashy clone. You really are an idiot. I'll crush you, then slaughter your main body to the last. The sudden change left everyone unable to react, and they could only stand in place shouting Chinchanon's name. The next moment, the originally raging fist was easily blocked by me, but the terrifying aura contained within it did not disappear. Instead, it formed two terrifying shock waves that spread outwards. Whether it was gods, demons, or immortals around, they all had to struggle not to be blown away. After the dust settled, I looked at the dumbfounded Long Lu and said, you don't even have the strength to hit someone, and you call yourself a heavenly god? Long Lu ignored my taunt. Instead, he shouted incredulously, you're not at the domain lord realm. I elevated my aura to its peak and crushed his fist in one grip. Are you afraid? The next moment, Long Lu's scream rang out. His fat palm was now twisted like a twisted donut. Then Long Lu looked at me with a ferocious face. Are you the real body? I did not deny it, but openly admitted, I'll take you down with the next move. If you don't show your trump card now, you'll miss your chance. Hearing my provocative words, the previously frightened Long Lu became furious again. As long as I kill you now, you'll be completely dead. Then Long Lu's foot stomped down with a thunderous sound. The entire continent became unstable because of this step. The next moment, Long Lu felt a chill behind him. It turned out that when he stomped down, I flashed behind him. At the same time, I condensed a ball of light in my hand. Is this a god? How utterly boring. Then I sentenced him to death, piercing his body with a laser. A spray of bright red blood spurted from Long Lu's mouth. His ferocious eyes lost their color. With a clang, his huge body fell straight down. This scene made the heavenly lord of radiant brilliance also terrified. In our eyes, the heavenly god is a supremely terrifying existence, but he was toyed with like a baby in front of me. Then I looked at Feng Qingyang and shouted, Master, lend me your sword. Feng Qingyang was also confused by this call for master, but still handed over his sword. Just at this moment, Long Lu's originally fatal wound began to heal itself. Changshi only felt a chill down his spine. Is this guy immortal? Then they saw, the lifeless Long Lu actually stood up again. Feng Qingyang, with a horrified face, pointed at him and shouted, Heavenly God is alive again. Hero, you must see this. For this master who was still in his youth. I smiled slightly. I know. The newly awakened Long Lu's eyes erupted with terrifying murderous intent. You think you can get away away with doing this? I, of the Dragon God clan, will not let you go. If you know what's good for you, kneel and beg for mercy now. Seeing his transformation, I said coldly, I've heard that resurrection requires a significant price. Among them is the consumption of virgin essence. Each resurrection consumes more and more, and with that, I suddenly turned into a golden light, killing Long Lu. Thousands of blue sword auras sliced through Long Lu's body. At the brink of death, Long Lu screamed in despair. Why is my pet not coming to save me? Why does a being that is both immortal and demonic exist in this world? But I didn't give him a chance to continue. I swung my sword and cut off his head. A futile death. Let's start by offering your head as a sacrifice. Not until they saw Long Lu's head hit the ground did they finally recover from their shock. Chinchanan, he really did it. But I looked mockingly at the rolling head on the ground. Is this a heavenly god? Truly feeble. Just then, fleshy tentacles emerged from Long Lu's neck, reaching at high speed for the severed head. The sudden change surprised me. He can still resurrect? So I smiled playfully. Look at you, like a cockroach that can't be killed. Really quite troublesome, but being able to kill you a few more times might be an entertaining diversion. So I just stood there, watching him, with no intention of interrupting. Soon, the resurrected Long Lu, now transformed from his previous fat appearance into a muscular hunk with 8-pack abs, was overtaken by rage, shouting that he would crush me to dust. His arrogant manner also aroused my displeasure. I swung my sword and cut him in half. Is this all a noble god can do? His resurrected form didn't surprise me at all. Instead, it seemed normal. After all, as a god, how could he not have some means of preserving his life? But do you really have no other tricks? With this level of power, I advise you to just die obediently. Seeing me continually approaching, Long Lu finally completely lost his composure, shouting for me to stop and let him go. There's no need for us to fight to the death. I can give you whatever you want. I'm a descendant of the Dragon God. I can promise you. Oh right, you want to save these ignorant people, don't you? I promise you I won't harm them anymore. I will take good care of them. But I seemed as if I hadn't heard. I casually snapped my fingers, and Long Lu's body began to swell. In the blink of an eye, it became transparent due to the raging power. If I die, it will be a catastrophe. The Dragon God clan will not let you go either. At this moment, he was filled with regret. I just started a war. I wanted to cultivate a war hero to participate in the interstellar competition. When did things start going wrong? Why did I have to encounter such a strange being? Just like that, Long Lu, filled with remorse and unwillingness, burst into countless pieces. The system's prompt sounded in my mind. Congratulations to the number 2 host for killing a god-level being. Because of this god's special status, it will take some time to upgrade the version before it can be revealed. Hearing the system's prompt, I grinned. It seems I played a bit too rough this time. It seems you won't be able to resurrect for a while. Just as I was feeling triumphant, the system reminded me, host number 2, I must tell you, I'm very loyal. I only belong to number 1. Are you done yet? This avatar has to disappear after the matter is resolved, confirming that Long Lu really couldn't resurrect again this time. A cheer rang in my ears. We've won. It's our victory. Changshi was already in tears, her pale face flushed with excitement. Noticing their touching gazes, I scratched my head somewhat embarrassedly. You're so enthusiastic. I'm getting a bit shy here, but judging by the current plot, next, Weapon Spirit or Heaven's Way should appear, right? However, Feng Qingyang's sudden words sent a chill down my spine. Because I defeated the heavenly god, he actually has the desire to stay in the ancient continent, and says it's better to stay here, because it feels like home. Hearing these dangerous words, I exploded. Don't you see what you're saying? What will I do if you don't go to the 9-state continent? Thinking about this, I yelled, no, you must go to the 9-state continent. Changshi came over and asked me why not. The 9-state continent is very far away. The ancient continent is already out of danger now. I told him that solving the crisis was just temporary. You must think in the long term. I pointed at the unconcerned Feng Qingyang beside me. Especially you. If you don't go, the whole world will be doomed. Feng Qingyang pointed at himself, confused. Me? I coughed lightly and said, yes, it's you. Actually, I'm an immortal from the future, and I came back here to save the ancient continent from this disaster. Now that everything has been successfully stopped, your responsibility next is to go to the 9-state continent to guard the world. Changshi wanted to explain something to me, but I didn't give her a chance at all. If you don't go to the 9-state continent, it will disrupt everything. Even the ancient continent will be affected, leading to destruction. The world you think you know may not be the real world. Hearing this, Changshi and the others looked terrified. It's that serious? Seeing their reaction, I thought to myself, I don't know if the world will be destroyed or not, but it really is serious. So they finally confirmed that the trip to the 9-state continent was indispensable. But just then, the sky suddenly began to twist. A blood-red eye abruptly opened. Then an unquestionable voice exploded in everyone's ears. The heavenly god of the ancient continent is dead. It is time for me to choose a new master. Hearing the voice, everyone looked up to the sky, only to see a scarlet eye staring at them. It's Heaven's Way. Surely the new master of the ancient continent must be you, Chinchanan. From now on, the ancient continent will also have its own new god. Upon seeing the shadow on the ground, Heaven's Way couldn't help muttering, this person's divine power is incredibly strong. Then it released a soul connection towards me. The new master of the ancient continent that I recognized mesmerizes you. Just when I thought everything was settled, the light went directly into Changshi's forehead, leaving me flabbergasted. What's going on? Did Heaven's Way make a mistake? The next moment, a mark flashed across Changshi's chest again, and the strong sensation of electric current made her scream in agony. Seeing this, I hurriedly went over and gently patted her back. What on earth is going on? However, Heaven's Way seemed to ignore it. As the new master of the ancient continent, please go to the holy temple within 1 day to register and officially take over the ancient continent. His words filled me with rage, and I was about to make a move, but before I could act, I was stopped. I saw that Changshi had taken on a different appearance, staring at me with a wicked smile. Don't struggle in vain. Heaven's Way has decided. I am the new master of the ancient continent. The strange voice made everyone hold their breath. It's been 10 million years. That Long Lu is finally dead. This was a cross-generational test. At first, I had no hope for you, but I didn't expect you to give me such a surprise. You did very well. Once I fully take over the ancient continent, I will reward you properly. I finally realized that the person before me was not Changshi, but Weapon Spirit. I pulled away from her grasp, so there was never any divine artifact trial. This was all you, wanting me to kill Long Lu for you, so you could use Changshi's body to gain recognition from ancient continent's Heaven's Way, and thus take over this planet, right? Weapon Spirit praised me for thinking quickly. I thought you'd be panicked. When did you figure it out? I answered her. It's because your previous story was so poorly crafted. It didn't connect at all. How could anyone immerse themselves in that? But she revealed a charming expression, smiling at me. You believed it at first. I care about your angry expression now, you know. Yes, from the beginning, I crafted countless divine artifacts, each one containing a part of me, what you call the Weapon Spirit. The artifacts were scattered throughout countless realms, and once they found someone with potential, they would, as a Weapon Spirit, lure them through various continents, having them battle the heavenly gods of those lands for their own purposes. Once they succeeded in killing a heavenly god, I would appear and take control of the entire continent. Afterward, all the beings on those continents would become sources of power for me, offering up their precious lives for my cultivation. The explanation left the gathered immortals numb. So from the beginning, we were merely playthings for the heavenly gods? Weapon Spirit then smiled at me again. I still need to go to the temple. Only then will this all come to an end. You all should use the remaining time to say your final goodbyes to this continent. Then Weapon Spirit detached from Changshi's body, but she, using the last of her strength, called out, Chinchaman, you must not let her register successfully, or our entire ancient continent will be doomed. Upon hearing this, I solemnly promised her, I will take care of this continent. A notice then came. The ancient continent will be officially taken over by the god of time and space in 10 minutes. After the takeover, the entire continent will be sacrificed. If the ancient continent is destroyed, the host's third task will also fail. Just then, the clear sky suddenly turned dark, and a black vortex appeared. The god of this place has already died. I always knew that Dragon God's heir was a waste. Another continent soon to be shrouded in death. I like it. The sound made everyone's hearts tremble, for it seemed to come from the heavens, and I looked in the direction of the sound. The next moment, an urgent system notification rang in my ears. Gods from all realms have gathered here. This world is not as simple as I thought. There are so many gods. On the other side, Weapon Spirit was moving at the fastest speed of her life, heading towards the temple designated by Heaven's Way. Weapon Spirit had already arrived on the island. Now, instead of her illusory appearance, she became a graceful and beautiful young girl. Looking at her own tender and delicate body, she couldn't help but remark, I didn't expect myself to be so youthful 10 million years ago. But she quickly walked into the temple. Dragon God Temple Spirit, where are you? A green divine dragon suddenly appeared before her, but upon seeing her, it was somewhat surprised. You are God of Time and Space Chan Wangchen. Why are you here? A bright glimmer flashed in Chan Wangchen's eyes. Each continent's temple has a guardian spirit, and whether you can successfully become the master depends on its approval. She then answered with a touch of regret, because Long Lu is dead. Then she couldn't help but laugh, telling Temple Spirit about Long Lu's miserable fate, and he was killed by an immortal. If this news gets out, it will be a disgrace to the Dragon God's clan. Temple Spirit was furious upon hearing this, loudly denying, impossible. A mere immortal could not harm the young master. More like he would be killed by the young master. Chan Wangchen's index finger lit up with a glow, then shot it towards Temple Spirit's forehead. You can judge whether it's true or false yourself. Temple Spirit did not refuse, and began to review the memory image in its mind. But quickly, its entire body began to tremble uncontrollably, because it could feel that there was no fabrication in this image. It was all true. Young Master Long Lu was actually killed by a mere immortal. Chan Wangchen saw this and whispered in Temple Spirit's ear. This immortal came from an unknown place, mastering strange immortal techniques that suppressed Long Lu at every turn. Every move was a lethal one. His methods were utterly cruel. Upon hearing this, Temple Spirit couldn't help but roar loudly. This immortal must die. The children of our Dragon God clan will hunt him to the ends of the star domain, cut off his fate, and slaughter his clan. Chan Wangchen said, if I had arrived a little earlier, I wouldn't have let that brat run wild. I merely used my power to restore the scene at that time. All of this must be addressed. Temple Spirit instantly understood her meaning, responding understanding. I will quickly inform the upper gods in the clan about this matter. Qian Wangchen told him this was all part of being an ally, but it's a pity. This continent will soon be taken by other gods. Upon hearing this, Temple Spirit took out a cube from its body and humbly handed it over to Qian Wangchen. Because the continental territory greatly aids the gods, many enemies covet our lands. If you don't mind, I entrust this ancient continent to your control. Taking the cube, Qian Wangchen's face lit up with joy. Then let me help you again. I will reluctantly accept this continent. She then decisively began the process of becoming the master. The lands under the dragon god enjoy the blessing of special energy. Once sacrificed, it will help my cultivation a lot. I'm getting better and better at using others to kill. It's hard on that fool, but it's better than the dragon god troubling me. The process of becoming the master is a bit tedious, but this 1,000-year wait is worth it. But at that moment, the array for becoming the master suddenly shattered. This change also froze her smile on her face. The temple spirit next to her cried out in surprise. In tens of millions of years, this is the first time I've seen such a situation. Qian Wangchen's face darkened at this point. I seized the permission of Heaven's Way in advance, just to prevent other heavenly gods from taking the qualification first, so that I could return to this period during the time travel and take the continent. Then she once again formed the array to become the master, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not succeed. Temple Spirit told her, there are only two possibilities for not being able to succeed in becoming the master. Either someone is controlling the will of the continent, ignoring Heaven's Way to hinder us, but this is not worth mentioning. We only need to spend some time to break through. But what worries me is the second one. Someone has broken free from our control without the permission of the temple. Then the ancient continent has changed hands. Upon hearing this speculation, her face showed disbelief. Could it really be that someone was able to ignore the divine occupation laws and seize the ancient continent before me in just a few short minutes? But she quickly dismissed this guess. Just then, the cube suddenly shone with a dazzling golden light. Temple Spirit saw this, his face excited. The golden light, this represents the success of becoming the master. It was just a false alarm. As the lord of the continent, your name will appear. Just when Qian Wangchen thought she was about to succeed, the words that appeared in the void above were incredibly familiar to her. Chen Chaman. Qian Wangchen saw this scene, and her eyes were filled with killing intent. How could it be him? I waited for 10 million years, taking full advantage of timing, location, and people. Why is it him, not me? But she quickly forced herself to calm down, murmuring my name in her mouth. What exactly did you do in these few short minutes? It turns out that just 5 minutes ago, several rays of light descended here. Then they even started arguing over the ownership of the ancient continent right in front of me. Their unabashed discussion caught my attention. Hearing them before seeing them, the strength to exert pressure on Heaven's Way from such a distance is indeed not to be underestimated. Far from being something that incapable person can compare with, but they do have the qualifications to be trampled under my feet. Feng Qingyang heard that voice. A deep sense of powerlessness rose in his heart. So many heavenly gods have come. What should we do to reclaim this land from their hands? On the other side, Heaven's Way looked respectfully at the gods in front of him. This place has already been claimed by the god of time and space, Qian Wangchen. What? She got here first again? I am Flame Supreme. You know what the god of time and space will do to her continents. If you are willing to recognize a new master, I can protect this continent. Hearing this, Heaven's Way hesitated, but I just recognized her as the master. If it's transferred and found out by the god of time and space. Before he could finish, a female voice interrupted him. Qian Wangchen, she can fight, but what use is that? She's just a god without any backing. If you side with me, I will help you become a stronger continent, even a fertile land. Hearing the goddess's promise, Heaven's Way couldn't help but lose composure. Even the man beside exclaimed, turning barbarians into fertile land? Empress of the Dusk, you really went all out. Empress of the Dusk responded indifferently. It's just some small favors, not going all out, but under the situation of lacking territories among the gods, having one more would surely help. Heaven's Way beside them had already wavered, because what the Empress of the Dusk said was true. This place is the lowest existence in the star domain. If it could truly become fertile land, the benefits would be continuous. But the only reason that held him back was, there are no pies falling from the sky. If I recognize a new master, I will have to abandon the energy that I have accumulated with great difficulty. At that time, this place will become utterly desolate, even worse than the lowest ranking barbarian lands. If you go back on your word, and the god of time and space comes looking for me, just then, I spoke, mocking the gods in the sky. So the high and mighty heavenly gods like to make empty promises too. You can actually say such despicable schemes out loud. In my opinion, you might as well consider cooperating with me. Once I become the master of the ancient continent, Heaven's Way will naturally listen to me. Flame Supreme heard this and burst into derisive laughter. Just based on you, an immortal, daring to even think of cooperating with heavenly gods. This is the most interesting joke I've heard in tens of millions of years. Heaven's Way also sarcastically added from the side. Don't be delusional. Since ancient times, I have only recognized heavenly gods as masters. Hearing this, I had no intention of wasting words with them. I turned and left. I've given you the opportunity. Don't regret it. This Heaven's Way won't take long to recognize a new master. It seems I must hurry to find a way to resolve this situation. The time left for me is not much. Just then, Number One's voice rang in my mind. Leave it to me. I have learned everything from your memories. Guess what I saw? Number 2 felt a wave of speechlessness. I didn't expect we could communicate telepathically. Number 1 ignored his response and continued. I just found the 9 heavenly star Luoyan formation set up by pure virtue God's envoy before. Although it has been destroyed by that fat guy, the remnants of the formation still exist under the ruins. After seeing this formation, I immediately had an idea. Number 2 laughed playfully upon hearing Number 1's plan. Indeed, it's a good idea. I must say, it's truly like me. Number 1 also revealed a triumphant smile. Then, next, you'll assist me. Afterward, I called out. It's been a long time since I used the system feature. I left this marker for Changxi in advance in case of unexpected events. Now is the perfect time to use it. Then I issued the first command to the system. Restore the teleportation array's link. Extend the Invincible domain to the ancient continent. This method seemed easy, but it required someone in the 9-state continent to connect with me, and this person must be skilled in spatial teleportation power. Then I turned and looked at Changxi. It will be resolved soon. Don't forget to send a message to your junior sister. Changxi was somewhat puzzled after hearing this, but she chose to trust my words and connected with Hanxi. Chinchanan, do you have anything to say? I told her, you just need to pass on a message for me. Before I could speak, Hanxi's roar came from the other end of the phone. Why did the teleportation array suddenly break? I can't go back. What should I do? Senior sister. At that moment, I shouted her name to calm her down. Hearing my voice, Hanxi quieted down. How are you? Are you injured? But I unilaterally announced a breakup to her and told her that I already had someone I loved. On the other end, Hanxi immediately exploded, shouting, why? You've done well. We're just not suited for each other. Stay in the 9-state continent and don't come back. Hearing our conversation, Changxi's cheeks flushed red in an instant. Chinchanan only has me as a woman by his side. Could it be that I'm the one he loves? And his demeanor just now was obviously very nervous. Could he really like me? But what about junior sister? She'll surely go berserk when she finds out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hanxi, hearing my sincere words, couldn't stop trembling all over. Then she tightly gripped her phone and cursed. Scumbag, I will definitely come back to cut off your head. Make you regret coming into this world. Then she looked back at the sky not far away. It was her master's 9 heaven star Luoyan array. Great, someone is repairing it. I will do everything in my power to connect this teleportation array. Damn Chinchanan, don't think you can get rid of me. Even if we are to break up, only I have the right to dump you. I soon sensed the response from the 9-state continent. I opened my hands and began using the function of all living things. 2 continents spanning tens of millions of light years now had a faint link, and on the continents, a previously depleted teleportation portal suddenly lit up. People all showed surprised looks. The divinely destroyed teleportation array was gradually being restored. What is going on here? The gods also noticed the change on the planets. What's the deal with this teleportation array? Could other gods have acted secretly, wanting to forcibly occupy the ancient continent? At that moment, 2 different rays of light shot out from the ancient continent and 9-state continents' planets, gathering together at an incredible speed. Sharp-minded Evening quickly discovered that there was no involvement of other gods. It was merely the survival method of those ants on the native continent. Flame Supreme also agreed after hearing this. After all, the safest way to occupy the continent was to recognize the master. Anything else, like a forced occupation, would surely be swallowed by the Starfield's laws. This barbaric place. It's not worth any heavenly god to pay such a price. Then I suddenly sensed a few strong presences appearing behind me. They were slightly surprised after finding me, the mastermind behind the scenes. A small heavenly demon actually possesses such power. It seems this kid has quite a few secrets. Perfect. The vengeance for my god's envoy that he killed has not been avenged. Although this split soul's power is less than 1,000th of my true self, it's more than enough to destroy him. Until that beam of light disappeared, I remained enscathed in place, staring contemptuously at that guy who could only sneak attack. Is that all the strength you have? That heavenly god was also enraged by my words, because since his birth, no one has dared to look at him with such eyes. He then spread his arms, absorbing energy from his universe. The Longlu you killed is the lowest level among all heavenly gods. He merely relied on his father's fame and power, but we have experienced countless eras, climbing to the peak, transcending the cycles of life, and ultimately controlling heaven's way. You're just a little heavenly demon. In our eyes, you are as weak as an ant. I don't even need to use all my strength to crush you. Evening, who was nearby, sneered at his actions. 9 Sun Supreme Emperor actually used 1% of his power. This is really devaluing. Flame Supreme felt that such an approach was appropriate. Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? Count me in. At that moment, the system kindly recorded all the gods who attacked me, remembering this moment of humiliation. But if you don't leave soon, your avatar here here will be in great danger. I answered it. I can't take a step back. Otherwise, the teleportation array built behind me will be gone. The universe was suddenly flooded with a dazzling light, and on the other side, Avatar number 2 suddenly clutched its head. Your heavenly demon avatar has been destroyed by the gods. Consciousness combined, memories synchronized, two become one. Hearing this, I replied, I know, the pain has already come through. Just then, the system told me that due to the sacrifice of Avatar number 1, time had been successfully bought to connect the teleportation array. Hearing this, the corner of my mouth curled up. First, cover the entire 9-state continent for me. Upon receiving my command, the system's tone became somewhat cheerful. Appropriate domain value has been deducted. Coverage successful. Then I told the system to synthesize all the remaining domain fragments I had into a domain card, targeting the Invincible domain as the target unit, and extending the domain to the ancient continent. Such a command even stunned the system. How is this operation possible? Hearing that, I looked at it mockingly. So there are things you, the system, can't do? The system was instantly ignited by my words. What? Just watch me. Domain is expanding. Expansion successful. Hearing the system's completion prompt, my face instantly darkened. Exhaust all my domain value. Cover the ancient continent. Take this land for me. The next moment, the system's domain transcended millennia, instantly enveloping the entire ancient continent. Completely covered ancient continent. Please enjoy. Host. Hearing that, I couldn't control my mad laughter. Next is my favorite cleanup time. My arrogant words also caused those gods to laugh uncontrollably. He says he wants to clean. You mere ants dare to speak so grandly? The next moment, scorching energy instantly engulfed them. Hysterical screams echoed through heaven and earth. What's happening? Why can't I resist at all? My divine power has actually failed. How does he bear the mark of owning the continent? Impossible. Who are you exactly? Soon, the ancient continent became quiet again, leaving only the wide-eyed, stunned immortals frozen in place. Then the system's prompt sounded in my ear. It was indeed that familiar and pleasant note. Congratulations, host, for occupying the ancient continent. Task 3 completed. The only surviving Heaven's Way looked on in terror. The gods were instantly killed. Can I take back my disrespectful words? Lord Chinchanon, please forgive my blindness. From now on, you are the sole master of the ancient continent. Hearing this, I made a disdainful face and said to him, but you just said you would never acknowledge me as the master. Heaven's Way hurriedly explained, that was just a slip of the tongue. I failed to recognize your majestic and heroic side in time. At the same time, he muttered to himself, if you had shown this kind of strength earlier, why would I have beaten around the bush? Besides, the power he just displayed was at least at the godly level, and he forcibly occupied the continent, bypassing the laws. Clearly, my existence poses no threat to him. Thinking this, he became even more determined to cling to me. But at that moment, I leaned down to him. I don't like this pretentious attitude of yours. I prefer your previous unruly appearance. Hearing this, Heaven's Way became nervous, looking back at the crowd as if pleading for help. Please speak well of me. My earlier words were only to protect the people of the ancient continent, completely in line with your goals. Chang-Shi found it incredible. It was clearly a desperate situation just now, yet this man managed to turn the tide time and again, creating such miracles. What kind of existence is he? Then Feng Qingyang pleaded with me to forgive Heaven's Way, but I gave him no face at all, saying that he was a rebel. Better to kill him now and eliminate future troubles. At that moment, the system's prompt appeared before me, showing the remaining domain value of 1,514 points. Host, please choose a reward for killing Wang Lu. Option 1, Heavenly Gods Avatar Analysis Progress 10%. Option 2, Title, Dragon Slayer. Effect, against the entire Dragon God clan, avatars will inflict damage that includes lawbreaking. The Dragon God clan's hatred for me has reached 20%. Once the hatred value reaches its peak, I will be hunted down by the Dragon God clan throughout the Divine Realm. But my gaze lingers between the two options, seemingly sensing my dilemma. The system explains that the title seems useful, but once in the Divine Realm, I will definitely encounter more than just the Dragon God clan, and if I encounter other races, the title will become invalid. Instead, the Heavenly God avatar is more beneficial. Such a blatant hint made me realize that title is not something good, so I unhesitatingly chose the first reward and place high hopes for generous rewards on task 3. Now, the 9-state continent and the ancient continent have been completely covered by me. I temporarily don't need domain value much. Then, the prompt for successful reward selection rang. The rewards for killing the other heavenly gods have also arrived. Host, please make a choice. After the first choice, I directly told the system not to choose, just exchange them all for the heavenly god avatar's analysis. The system quickly showed that the exchange was successful. The current analysis of the host's heavenly god avatar is 10.5%. This time the reward is different from before. The system rewards an avatar that can continuously use the invincible domain within the territory for 1 minute. Looking at the mere additional 0.5%, I cursed the system for joking with me. Long Lu's reward was already 10%. Why do the other heavenly gods only add up to 0.5%? The system tells me that those were only avatars. If the host can kill the true bodies of the gods, the rewards will naturally be generous. It seems that if I want to quickly obtain the heavenly god avatar. I need to enter the heavenly god's lair and eliminate a few true bodies, but there's no rush for that right now. After all, the problem has been basically resolved. Changshi will not die again. Only the power of the divine artifact still needs to be obtained. I then raised my head to look into the sky. God of time and space, right? Since it's been a deception from the beginning, I will just have to take the power of the artifact directly from you. The ancient continent is now entirely mine. That little thief will surely come back once she realizes. I then called out, "System, keep an eye on that one. Notify me immediately if the presence of God of time and space appears in the invincible domain." On the other side, God of time and space angrily slammed against the crystal wall. "I was thinking of sparing your worthless life, but since you dare to plot against me, you don't need to exist anymore." She then commanded to the temple spirit behind her. "Chinchanan is the murderer who killed Long Lu. I am going to kill him now. Wait for me here and do not move." With Qian Wanchen's strength, a casual squeeze could cause a shock in the time and space of the entire world. No matter how that person took over the ancient continent by bypassing the temple, once Qian Wanchen acts with full force, he will definitely die, and he will die miserably. But Long Lu's death is very suspicious. Perhaps she was behind it too. Better inform the clan soon to avoid her escaping. On the other side, Qian Wanchen tore through the void to the outside of the domain, but the moment she saw the ancient continent, she was taken aback. Why does this ancient continent look different than before? The spiritual energy in the continent has surged a lot. It's a world of difference compared to the previous barbaric land. This place can actually withstand 10% of my power. What on earth has happened here? Detecting that the god of time and space had invaded the invincible domain and entered the ancient continent, Qian Wanchen recklessly shouted my name. "I will make you explain to me clearly how this ancient continent became yours. Make you kneel at my feet." But before she could finish her words, she was caught in the palm of my hand. Then, I lifted her up as if grabbing a small chicken. "Long time no see, weapon spirit." I then ruthlessly threw her to the ground. Qian Wanchen, who got up again, couldn't help but tremble all over. What on earth was happening? She couldn't detect when I made my move. Before she could think more, a warm sensation came from behind. Alertly, she turned around to look. Sure enough, I was looking at her with a mocking smile on my face. Unable to bear this kind of humiliation, Qian Wanchen exploded in an instant. A wild power surged out of her delicate body. "Chinchanan, you worthless fish. How dare you?" The next moment, a shocking white light shot up into the sky. The wild power instantly engulfed me. Yet facing this power, I only replied indifferently, "Is that all?" Hearing these words, Qian Wanchen's heart sank to the bottom. She completely didn't understand why. In just a moment, I had become so strong. Just then, threads of thunder began to gather in the sky above the ancient continent. With the raising of my arm, dark and cold black thunder appeared in my hand. Qian Wanchen looked at me on her body in horror. "How can this be? I am a god. How could a mere mortal possess the power to suppress me?" Looking at her comical appearance, I sneered. "That's not all." I then reached out and grabbed her throat. "I'll take your divine skill." After that, green energy burst out all around me. I began to analyze and duplicate the specific divine miracle of the god of time and space. However, Qian Wanchen was not afraid at all. "Don't delude yourself. I control the power of time and space. Unless you are of the divine race, rashly seizing it without the talent will only backfire." Before she could finish her words, the system's voice came through first. 100% successful duplication of the power of time and space, applicable only within the invincible domain. With the magnificent power of time and space appearing on me, I looked at Qian Wanchen with a more playful expression. "What did you just say?" Qian Wanchen noticed my change at this moment. Her whole body was trembling uncontrollably with fear. "What kind of monster are you?" But I didn't pay any attention to her words. I began to adapt to the power of time and space. It's truly an incredible divine skill. Now the future of this ancient continent has been completely changed. Along with the future, time and space have all undergone incredible changes. Then I looked at her with a smile. "I guess your mind is already in chaos right now. All of this is because you summoned me to this time and space. Now you are useless to me. Whether to kill or spare you depends on your performance." The god of time and space looked at my silhouette with flushed cheeks. "It shouldn't have been like this. I didn't expect the guy I brought here myself would outwit me, and he is a super god existence." Her expression made me speechless for a moment. "What do you mean by that look? It's as if we've done something." God of time and space tightly covered her chest and said, "You did." Just then, Changxi's voice sounded in my ear. I saw Changxi looking anxious. "Chinchanan, it's bad. Ancient continent is under siege. Countless heavenly god avatars have descended on the continent." God of time and space became ecstatic upon hearing this news. What's the use of being able to fight? Her abnormal behavior also confirmed to me that she must be a mad woman, always pretending to be a heavenly god in front of others. You have no affiliation with any power, just like me. What's the use of personal strength, however strong it may be? Your ancient continent will sooner or later be divided by the gods. You can't defend it. At her words, I smiled. I told her, the ones who really need to be afraid are them, not me. Still unwilling to admit defeat even in this state. If time were enough, I would definitely pry open that mouth of yours. Then I disappeared from her sight with a bang. What a hopeless fool, thinking that by winning against me, he can face the heavenly god. gods. He's too overconfident. Chinchanon. When I saw the dark shadows in the sky, I smiled wickedly. A glimmer of cold light stretched for miles. What harm is there in slaughtering heavenly gods? Countless heavenly gods descended on ancient continent simply because they found here a star field possessing vast energy. Upon learning that the owner of this planet was an unheard of, unfamiliar name, those heavenly gods showed greedy expressions. The god of slaughter warned the woman beside him, "Don't underestimate him. He managed to take over the continent under the watch of several heavenly god avatars. He must be at least a demigod here." The woman listened with disdain. "Everything in this remote star field is of mediocre quality. I bet he's not even a match for a single hair of mine, and I suspect he might have secretly descended in his true form. Otherwise, it would be impossible to bypass the temple and take this place." The god of slaughter nodded. "The 8 major god clans of the divine realm have long forbidden heavenly gods from descending in their true forms. It seems that this one is most likely a wandering god without any background. A small wandering god, daring to swallow the vast energy of this place alone. He certainly has the guts, so we don't have to worry about anything. Without a title, he can't even be considered a low-level god. He's just a wandering god. That means we can kill him as we please." Then the god of slaughter shouted, "Let's join hands and kill the god of this place, and take his energy." Soon, hundreds of gods from various forces appeared in the sky above ancient continent. Upon seeing them, I didn't hesitate at all. Transforming into a golden light, I charged towards them. Seeing the rapidly approaching golden figure, the gods all froze in place. Seeing them silent, I smiled and looked at them. "Welcome to ancient continent." Changshi, listening to the sounds of battle coming from the sky, couldn't help but worry about me. If I continue to fight like this, my body will surely give out. At this moment, the voice of God of time and space rang in her ears. His arrogance, unreasonableness, and conceit. He will surely pay a painful price for this. Chinchanon, even if you have a transcendent realm, this number of gods will eventually wear you out and kill you. However, Changshi saw me as the last hope, falling on one knee before her, hoping to gain the help of God of time and space. At her words, God of time and space let out a cold laugh. "Why should I offend so many heavenly gods to save a doomed man?" Changshi, at this moment, pleaded with God of time and space to save me, like a saintly figure, even if just once. "Let's help Chinchanon his friends, please." God of time and space nodded after listening. "Your words have indeed touched me, but I refuse." Saying this, she broke into insane laughter. "What use are friends? Would they really pull you out of a tight spot? Your saintly appearance truly makes me sick. It's precisely because of your kind-heartedness that such a tragic end has come. Moreover, your continent has already been discovered by the gods. Now, in order to absorb that great energy, they will surely destroy this place completely. Ancient continent is destined to be annihilated. There's no use begging me anymore. If you had obediently let me take control of ancient continent, you wouldn't have to suffer like this. You might have even been able to leave peacefully. And all of this is that damn Chinchanon's fault." Hearing this, Changshi still didn't give up. He came here and fought many big and small battles. Deep inside, he must be exhausted. He saved us from this hellish place without asking why. He doesn't deserve to die an ignoble death. He is a hero to all of us. I beg you on behalf of all the people of ancient continent. Looking at Changshi, as humble as an ant, God of time and space had no pity in her heart. She leaned close to Changshi, lifting her chin. "How about this? You go find Chinchanon, transfer all ownership of this continent to me, and I will help him through this crisis as a favor." Before Changshi could answer, my voice rang out behind her. "Who are you talking about helping through a crisis? Are you itching to die?" God of time and space looked at me and started to laugh smugly. "Chinchanon, are you unable to hold out and now begging me? As long as you kneel and kowtow 3 times to me, I will mercifully help you. How about that?" Her arrogant words made me pause for a moment. "Do you want to hear what you are saying?" Then I pointed to the side. "Has your brain gone funny? Please look carefully before you speak." God of time and space unconsciously looked in the direction I was pointing. She shouldn't have looked, for she froze on the spot when she did, only to see that the originally dark and oppressive sky had become incredibly clear. More terrifyingly, all the gods had disappeared. Changshi also looked up at the sky, and her mind went blank, but she quickly covered her mouth in excessive astonishment, because the scene before her, even to describe it as a miracle would be inadequate. God of time and space at her side thought that I had reached some dirty deal with them, and hastily began to trace back in time to observe. It turned out that when I had approached the gods, I had a mocking and playful look on my face. They are just a group of ants that need to band together. Since that's the case, all of you come at me together. The next moment, the sky was completely clear. God of time and space thought she was seeing things, and slowed it down by 10,000 times. Only then did she see that I had killed them instantaneously at a speed invisible to the naked eye after I finished speaking. Then he saw me, like a demon god, arrogantly laughing wildly in the sky. "Is that all there is? It's not enough for me to kill. My strength also frightened the surviving heavenly god. How can Chinchanon's power be so terrifying?" Then the god of slaughter erupted in a burst of bloody light, shouting, "Send some real power from the main body, so this arrogant kid will shut up." But their fate was the same as the other heavenly gods. They had no chance to resist and were wiped out in an instant. Seeing God of time and space standing still, I reminded, "I heard everything she just said. What do you want to do now?" Hearing my words, words. God of time and space looked at me with fear. What kind of monster have I summoned? Then, without changing her expression, she squeezed her chest. Just tell me what you need. I'm sure I can help. I ignored her little trick and asked her if there was any way to attract more heavenly gods, preferably very impressive heavenly gods. She fell into deep doubt after hearing this. Am I not beautiful enough? Changxi at her side was also shocked by my insane words. You want to bring more heavenly gods? After recovering, God of time and space said darkly, there is a way. Meanwhile, Dragon God Temple Spirit appeared at their base, hurriedly throwing himself in front of the second young master of the Dragon Clan, saying, there's trouble. Lord Longlu has died unexpectedly. God of time and space wanted to intervene and take over his ancient continent, but it was taken away by someone named Chinchanan. Temple Spirit's explanation also surprised Longhua. Then he laughed carelessly. I suppose it was Qian Wangchen and who else that plotted against my 12th brother. Those who dare to touch our Dragon God clan, they must pay the price. Temple Spirit asked nervously how Longhua planned to act. Longhua burst out with a terrifying glare, saying, I will use the Dragon God technique, the 10-direction God annihilation formation. Temple Spirit reminded Longhua, doing so would cause all the planets, including ancient continent, to be destroyed. There are many other lower gods controlling those territories. Doing this will inevitably lead to enmity. Please think twice. Second young master. Longhua's face showed a crazy color after hearing this. The eldest brother is not here. I am in charge. What's there to fear about a bunch of ants? When you have enough strength, ants are only fit to be stepped on by you.